Hey everybody, Isaac Brooks here with another video, and today come to you a day removed after night 2 of Wrestlemania. Now, before I get into the results of Wrestlemania, I want to give my overall, honest opinion of the advertisement lingo for WrestleMania. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, or the people that are aware, WrestleMania this year has been labeled as the most stupendous two-night event in history of professional wrestling, and just the most stupendous WrestleMania. Now, do I agree with that? No. Do I think WrestleMania was bad? No. I would say there were moments that we'll get into in just a little bit that were really good, hilarious, in fact, sometimes. But then there were moments that you almost wanted to turn the TV off, but then you remember, oh, you got more to watch. So we'll have to wait and see what happens the rest of the show. But figured I'd make my statements felt, or thoughts felt, or whatever, on that before we get any further into this, going over the actual results of the show. And one more side note before we do that, I noticed that in my predictions video, I forgot to predict one match, and that was the New Day, Kofi and Xavier Woods going against Jameson Holland. Now, I'm not saying this just to throw my prediction out there, or what I thought was going to happen, because it's too late for that now. I just thought I'd make that statement. But anyway, on to the real reason for this video. Going over the results of WrestleMania and my thoughts of the winners and losers, and how I thought the matches overall were, and the show as a whole, which I kind of already touched on earlier, but we'll get into more depth in just a few minutes here, starting with the Usos beating Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Now, I might have predicted Nakamura and Boogs to win this match, but deep down I knew that the Usos would win. Wasn't happy about it, but I accepted it, because like I said, I expected it. But hopefully it just means that the Usos' time as the tag champions comes to an end sooner rather than later. Same with Roman Reigns, which we'll get into in all due time. Then Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. Drew McIntyre got the win. So, yeah, I was happy about that. I bet Corbin wasn't too happy. Be more sad, angry Corbin than. And Madcap Moss tried to get involved a little bit during the match and a little bit after the match is already done. And McIntyre just kind of like pointed at him with the sword and sliced the ropes on the ring. So needless to say, WWE had to fix the ring after that if they wanted to keep the show going. Alright, then the match that I had some very low expectations for, but later kind of blown away by it, but not really happy with the results. The Mysterios versus Miz and Logan Paul. And then, sickly enough, Miz and Logan Paul get the victory. Now for this part, I'm going to paraphrase what I've written down here. Let's just say I was ticked off. I was PO'd. But then Miz, as almost anyone would expect, turned his back on Logan Paul after the match was won. So I have to imagine they're going to do something either at WrestleMania Backlash or maybe just scrap the whole storyline. Hard telling. Then next, Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title. And Bianca Belair got a redemption after losing in 26 seconds or something like that at SummerSlam. So yeah, well-deserved victory for Bianca. Pretty happy about that. And the match itself was, as a lot of people would expect, was great. Definitely makes up for the not so good, really fast title change at SummerSlam. And then we had Seth Rollins against the mystery opponent, which was later revealed to be Cody Rhodes. Yes, Mr. AEW himself, Cody Rhodes, returned to the WWE. Cody not only showed up, but he won against Seth Rollins. And I was pretty happy to see that. Now, I always haven't been the biggest Cody Rhodes fan, but I was pretty happy to see him come back and at least silence Rollins for a little bit. And then, more anger set in. Because it was then Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte Flair won. In a very cheap fashion, too. The whole referee got knocked down. Typical referee bullcrap. Ronda had Flair beat a few different times. But Flair, being the egotistical being she is, cheated defeat, and stayed champion. Yeah, so needless to say, I was not happy about that one. But then, happy times. The Kevin Owens show with Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Stone Cold came out, and as you imagine, stadium in Texas went nuts for the Texas Rattlesnake. And Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin had an impromptu match. Austin's first match in over 19 years. And Stone Cold Steve Austin beat Kevin Owens in a no-holds-barred. So needless to say, yes, I was excited about that. I was super happy about that one. Then on to night 2, which was yesterday. RK Bro kicking off with the title defense against the Alpha Academy and the Street Profits. And RK Bro still the tag team champions. After a really great triple threat tag match. And then the show of respect from the Street Profits, getting Gable Steveson into the ring. Laying up Chad Gable. Oh, wait a minute. I just forgot to mention, or not to say forget to mention, but got so caught up in reviewing the matches, but the Hall of Fame segments with The Undertaker and the other inductees, great stuff. And then, of course, Triple H coming out, night 2, leaving the boots in the ring. Definitely a great and emotional moment there. So, to the Hall of Famers in the class of 2022, congratulations, well deserved. And the Triple H, thank you. Might not have always agreed with everything he did in the ring, but you're an all-time great. Definitely future Hall of Famer right there with The Undertaker, who headlined this year's Hall of Fame. Yeah. Like before I get any further into the matches, say thank you for all the memories to the Hall of Famers. Anywho, back to the matches. Bobby Lashley versus Omos. Bobby Lashley taking down the big man. I was cool with it, you know. I thought it was good. Then, back to some fun. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. An anything goes match. And of course, Johnny Knoxville implementing all the crazy, wacky stuff he's done on his show in the movies. I mean, like rodent traps on tables, bowling ball to the nuts, all kinds of crazy stuff. If you haven't seen it, I recommend. It's definitely really fun, intense showing in which Johnny Knoxville got the win over Sami Zayn. And then tag team fatal 4-way for the women's titles. Former champions, Queen Zelina and Carmella, lost to Naomi and Sasha Banks, which I'm cool with. And also in that match we had Shayna Baszler and Natalya, and Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Almost would have preferred Ripley and Liv winning, but yeah. Like I said, I'm cool with Naomi and Banks for now, having the championships. But it is what it is. Can't really do anything about it. And then, in a amazing one-on-one or dare I even say phenomenal, Edge versus AJ Styles. And Edge picking up the win. And I was pretty happy about that. Still kind of like scratching in my head about like how they're going to go with Damian Priest aligning himself with Edge. But all in due time, even tonight on Raw, we'll get our answers. Most likely. And then to the match that I forgot to cover in the predictions. New Day versus Jameson Holland. And as you probably expect, Sheamus and Ridge got the win. I was sort of happy about it, but also not at the same time. I'll tell you why. Because for the New Day, Kofi and Xavier, bit of a attempt at redemption for what happened to Big E. Having Big E's neck get broken. So if they had won, if New Day had won, it would have been a good redemption story. But I guess WWE figured we already had a redemption story with Belair beating Lynch. Didn't want to have two in the same run of events, which is dumb. But like I said, it is what it is. Can't really change that. And then Pat McAfee beat Austin Theory. And I was pretty happy about that. Until a point. Because Vince McMahon, yes, the chairman of WWE, had an impromptu match with McAfee, abused his power, and won. But it's all good, because after that, Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out again, stuns Austin Theory, stuns Mr. McMahon, shares the beer with Pat McAfee, stuns him later after that. But Pat's like, it's cool with it. I'm cool with it. Worth it. I mean, who wouldn't? It's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Helping you out, and then you get to share a beer. I wouldn't be partaking in the beer, but having the chance to share the ring with Steve Austin would be pretty cool. Not that I'm a wrestler in any way, but I digress. Just kind of delaying what I have to talk about next. What was labeled as the biggest Wrestlemania match in the history of Wrestlemania. Title for title unification match. Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion. Brock Lesnar, WWE Champ. Started out, like Lesnar looked like he was gonna win with his beastly physique and all that, but things took a turn. Roman Reigns using the cheating tactics almost had Lesnar a few different times until he did. But yeah, I was really having a hard time processing that. Because at a point, I used to be a fan of Roman Reigns. Of course, that was until the whole "acknowledge me, Tribal Chief" stupidness. And then it also helped me, Oh, and then also the whole thing with Lesnar having more of a personality, became a little more of a fan of him, which I never thought would happen. But WWE having to push their golden boys. It is what it is. Roman Reigns, double champion. Probably soon on Raw. Get a look at the unified title, which a lot of people are speculating to be big gold, which I'm kind of hoping for. Because I'm really tired of just the laziness on the WWE and Universal being the same belt, pretty much. Just different labeling and colors and all that stupid stuff. I mean, just look at this for a minute. This looks like something worth fighting for. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the other belts do too, but this looks, I mean, obviously, because it is a championship. I mean, this being a replica belt, but you get my point. You have this. You look like a champion. But I digress there. I digress. That's my review and thoughts on Wrestlemania. Like I said at the beginning, did I think it was stupendous? No. Did I think it was bad? No. Thought it was great, you know? Like I said, with the moments of, like, things I thought were great, and then things I thought were, like, but, yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, hopefully, you liked this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And until the next video, this is Isaac Brooks, signing off. Till next time.